Yes, sir. Just came on.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Good deal. First of all, I want to pray.
Amen.
This is a this is a great day. It's been a busy day, a full day. And this is the conclusion of this particular lesson. The leaders that we have in the church would have experienced this teaching, because it's very important that those who want to lead or in leadership know how to lead effectively. And I say that directly to those individuals who should be in Bible study instead of at home watching TV. So, I mean, I understand that you got jobs, but that's not an excuse, because I think that Amanda works from 7 in the morning to 5:30, 6 o'clock. I think Shannon, she works from, 7:30 to 5. Yeah, 7:30 to 5. Colette, so I've been Renata. So I say that because we've been talking about the pursuit of being a perfect leader and the perils of being a perfect leader. But in the pursuit that we spoke about 2 weeks ago, we talked about the many different things that you have to sacrifice in order to be a leader.
Amen.
You have to look at Obama, you look at Donald Trump, you look at all the presidents that we've ever had. These are individuals that used to drive their own cars. Individuals that used to go out with their families, have date night with their wives. But they had to sacrifice those things to become a great leader. And so sometimes you have to make that sacrifice. One powerful thing that happened, many of you know, that happened Saturday night to be a perfect leader, you have to be willing. Everything that I teach about, I wait for God's opportunity so I can walk about it.
Amen.
And so I was just talking last week about if we're a good shepherd, what happened when the sheep get caught in the thicket, we go into the thicket and get the sheep.
Got you.
And so I was glad not to be here Sunday morning so that we can illustrate, or so that I would be able to illustrate what a real shepherd does. Again, another head men of our church, Deacon Rodney White, went with me to make sure that I had help, like Aaron did Moses, to lift my arms up just in case, I needed him, and he was there. And the expression and the gratitude and the emotion that was on Brandy's face when we arrived. Listen, I talked to her about 30 minutes before we got there, but when we got out the car, she came outside and just went straight hugging. It was just overwhelming because I was able to call my pastor, and he was able to come, no question. My wife will tell you, I was wore out Saturday. I was wore out and had them 2 funerals. I was wore out and was getting ready to get into bed and everything. And so the phone call came in. I'm saying this for a reason, not to boast or to brag, but I want to show you what ministry looks like, what leadership looks like. And immediately when I got the phone call was interrupted. And I kept trying to make contact and couldn't, but I knew she was in Houston. So the first thing that my instinct said, and the second thing my wife said, was start packing the bag. You finna have to go. Well, I said, I know I'm gonna have to go. I'm finna go to Houston, but I don't want to get there and not know, where to go. Where at in Houston. So she jumped up. She was in the bathtub, and jumped out the bathtub. Didn't finish, jumped out the bathtub and started packing my bag. Wasn't no question about it. Let's go. Another thing is, as protocol would have it, you have to do right. You have to be a good steward over what God has given you, and everything that happens have to be done decently and in order, and not in your feelings. So, in order, what I did was I contacted those individuals who are responsible for the finances of this church, and if they had not approved it, it wouldn't have been no sweat off my back. I was still gonna pay and go. But at the end of the day, we have to do things in order. I'm grateful for the leaders of our financial department, because at the end of the day, it wasn't no question about it. Go ahead and do it.
Amen.
That's leadership. Not only because Brandy is one of our tithers, but because she's one of God's children.
Amen.
A lot of the homeless that we take care of are homeless people who have never been to this church, not members of this church, but we do it because that's the call that God has in our life as leaders. Amen. Within the capacity in which we're in. I believe that if you're going to sing in the praise team in this church, you need to know how to be a leader. You can be a good singer, but you don't know how to be a good leader. And being on the praise team is not about singing. It's about worshiping and being able to usher and lead people into worship. Amen. Lead people into an atmosphere. But if you can sing and you can't lead, then you need to start coming to Bible study on Tuesday night. I just got to be honest with you. And I've said this not only in Bible study, but I've said this in several individual meetings with certain departments, that if you want to be in ministry within your capacity, you need to support the other ministries in their capacity, such as the homeless ministry. And so we have to, if we want to be in leadership, you have certain requirements that God is looking for. God is looking for. It wouldn't make any sense for me to say that I'm the pastor, but I never show up on Sunday morning. Never show up on Sunday morning. I never show up on Bible study. Or I'm the pastor, but the only time I show up is Sunday morning. When I'm finna preach, when I'm finna be on the stage, when I'm finna be on camera. So I'm talking to every one of our members who are in leadership. I'm looking at you dead in your face. And to those other members who may be part of another church who may be struggling in that area because you have not been taught leadership. You know what your position is, but you really don't know how to fulfill the capacity, not only in your position, but also in supporting everyone else. So I want to say that because this was a powerful lesson study, and I do have handouts available for those individuals in our ministry who have missed it, who do want to be a part of it, because right now, we had a long drive to Houston, and we had a long drive back to Houston. And so during that drive, I had an opportunity to talk to the deacon of our church, who is a layman, who is responsible for making sure that things run according to the way they're supposed to in church order. And one thing that I've discovered, one thing that I've learned, so many churches have so many problems because they are afraid to address people who are in certain positions, because they don't feel that they can replace that person, or they don't feel, they think that that person's feeling may be heard and may cause tension. And I made it very clear, and he's sitting in the back, I made it very clear that if you can't follow God's order and the church order, then you are out of order. And if you're out of order, as the pastor, it's my job to set you down. And we can still be friends. We can still go and eat after church. You can still call the church when you need help. But if you're going to serve in any capacity of leadership, you have to display those leadership qualities. Because, as I said week before last, the church is a reflection of those who are leading the church. So I want to make sure that what God has called me to do, I'm doing it. And man, he must be going off on somebody. I'm not directing at anybody. But I have noticed, and I've taken note from week by week, the individuals who have been at this particular lesson. And I want to start teaching this lesson because we were beginning our church, and we were setting people in place. And so if you're beginning and you're setting people in place who want to be in leadership position, the first thing you need to do is teach leadership. You can tell the heart of people when they have, as I said the week before last, a devotion to do ministry. Not because they're told to, not because they have to, but because they want to.
Amen.
You'll be able to tell the difference. We have not taught on tithing in this church, but we have faithful tithers in this church. That exemplifies leadership qualities, not only here, but also for your home, because God sees you. God sees you. And let me say this for those of you who listen, who may be offended. Those individuals who I know can't come, don't be offended, because I'm not talking about you. But like the old saying, if the shoe fit, wear it. If it's too tight, take it off. Too tight, take it off. Because we do notice the certain individuals did call and have told me, man, I can't make it because of this. Something detrimental. But when it's always something every Tuesday, but when Black Friday came on, you was out. You know what I'm saying? You was, you can't come to the outreach on Saturdays, but you want to have choir rehearsal on Saturdays. I'm talking to the praise team. To our praise team in Other Chance Ministries. You can rehearse on Saturdays from 2 to 4, and you can rehearse on Saturdays from 10 or whatever, but you can't do outreach. So I believe that's a problem that needs to be addressed. Not only here, but I'm talking to those individuals who support us from other churches, that if you really say that you are who you are and you serve where you serve, God don't want half of you.
Amen.
He wants it all. 110%. I'm glad that God didn't give half on Calvary. I'm glad that he didn't have a headache on Calvary.
Me too, amen.
Pastor E, I ain't going to be able to make it tonight because, man, I got a headache. I tell you what, tell your supervisor at your job you ain't coming because you got a headache. Yeah. You're going to have more than a headache. Yeah, you're going to have a heartache. Yeah, you're going to have a heartache. So, I'm saying that because I want you to get this. I want you to get this. I want you to get how important it is to operate in which you say God called you. God called you. Every position in this church, nobody was appointed. Everybody who's in position was asked. Is this what you wanted to do? Then when you said yes, we sat down. This is your requirement. So, let me move on. So we do have the lesson study. The cost of discipleship. The pursuit 2 weeks ago. The perils last week. And the perks of a perfect leader this week. This lesson study tonight, the perks of a perfect leader, is going to be short. So what I would do is do an overview, since it's the conclusion of this study.
Amen.
And I have added a foreword that I should have read weeks ago, but I'm going to read it tonight. And it's kind of like an overview of what we're getting ready to get into when you read the lesson study. And I'm just going to read that. I'm not going to explain that. I'm just going to read that. To become a better walker, it comes at the expense of standing up and falling down. To become a better fighter, it comes at the expense of taking some very powerful punches and some brutal blows. To become a better marksman, it comes at the expense of sometimes missing the mark. And I want to park there. To be a leader, you have to understand, as I have learned, this outline was written based upon the platforms of my own personal experiences. This didn't come from a book. It didn't come from nobody else's notes. It came from my experiences. I understand that I will not always be right. I will not always get it right.
Amen. Amen.
And in order to be better, I have to understand that when I do fall, to get back up.
That's it.
To get back up. Many years ago, my dad used to take me to shoot darts when I was young. We used to shoot darts, and I loved it. And to the point to where he had bought me a dart board and set up my room, and I would just throw those darts at it, and it would never hit. I mean, I wasn't strong enough for them to go into the thing. The older I get, I kept throwing those darts. And I never hit that thing in the middle. I'm sorry. I never hit the bullseye. I never hit the red thing in the middle. Which was the bullseye. That was the objective, was to hit the bullseye. I am 38. And I have never hit the bullseye of a dartboard. But guess what? At least I was aiming in the right direction. I was aiming in the right direction. If I had an objective to hit the bullseye and missed it and gave up, then I can consider myself a failure because I didn't keep going. I wasn't persistent.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it, And because it didn't happen the first time, I gave up. That's called a failure.
Yeah, a quitter.
It's called a failure. But because I became persistent, even today, I still have not hit the bullseye, but I'm still not afraid to shoot darts.
Amen. It didn't stop you.
Just because it didn't work out the way that you thought it was going to work out, don't mean that you stop shooting for it.
Amen.
Walt Disney. I've said this before. Walt Disney, as a child growing up, he didn't have much of a childhood. Google a story. His parents worked a lot, so he didn't have much of a childhood. And so he had always played in his home and make up stuff for himself to enjoy. And he said, when I get older, I want to create a place so that kids can say that it's the greatest place in the world.
Yes.
So when he got older, he had a vision. Watch this. He had a vision. He wrote his vision down of one of the world's largest theme parks. True story. Watch this. He went to the bank without anything but his vision.
Wow.
He shared with them his vision and asked for a loan, and they said no. Okay? He went back again to the same bank with the same vision. They said no. Watch this. Walt Disney went back 301 times to the bank.
Hey, wow.
Walt Disney got 301 no's.
Yes,
301 no's. But now you can go to Florida, and when you walk into Disney World, there is a sign that says, "Welcome to the greatest place on earth."
Yeah.
So if he got denied 301 times, how is it that I can go to Florida now and see the sign, "Welcome to the greatest place on earth"? Let me explain to you. Because he did not quit.
Amen.
On the 302nd time, they approved his loan. No money, no collateral.
Yeah.
He just shared his vision.
That's it.
Sometimes all God is looking for you to do is have a vision.
That's it. Come on now.
That's it. You've got to have a vision. And when you have a vision, you got to understand. Now listen, there are going to be some things. If you have a blueprint to a house,
yes, come on.
and you're going by the blueprint, in the middle of construction, although there's a blueprint, some changes are going to have to be made. Now, the same principle applies. When you have a vision, it may not work the way that you planned it, the way you expected it, but you still got to have a vision.
You must have a vision.
Still have to have a vision. And you can't give up just because it doesn't work out as quickly or as firmly as you want it to work out. So, I'm glad that he did not quit. I'm so glad that Walt Disney stayed persistent. Stayed persistent. So, as I said in the foreword, in order to become better, you have to understand that there will be some falling down moments. There'll be some falling down moments. I never intended to move into this building and not have any hiccups along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Never. They haven't happened yet, but I know they will happen.
Yes, they will. Amen.
It's imperative for us to understand that when we're doing things for God and we're doing it God's way, the enemy is a roaring lion. And if you're running a race, the first thing that he's going to do is put a hurdle in front of you to slow you down or even to trip you up. So since you know it, you have to be mindful to watch for hurdles.
You got to.
Understand that it's going good now. Understand that they tithing now. Understand, man, they saying good Sunday. Don't let your guard down.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't let your guard down. Oftentimes, listen, the enemy does not bother you when you are down.
No, he don't.
The enemy only bothers you and pulls on you when you're going up. So be mindful that when you're going up, watch for the enemy.
That's it.
The reason, Rodney, my great-grandfather had rent houses, and every time somebody would move out, and somebody would move in, he would always put rails along the steps that led up to the porch. And I would wonder, why would he replace the rails when these rails are good? And he said, because security of the home is how you enter into the home. And every time a person walks upstairs, in other words, gravity tends to pull them down. So you want to make sure that you have something firm enough for them to brace themselves upon. Same principle applies with the Word of God. The higher you're going, the Word of God is what He puts in front of you or beside you to brace yourself on. So, when I'm going anywhere, when I'm doing anything, I always grab hold to the Word.
Yes.
Man, you always using the Bible. I have to use the Bible because I've tried to use other things and failed.
Always. Amen.
Had to use other things and failed. In our church, anything that I say, anything I do, any decision I make sure that I consult God before I consult people. Therefore, people don't confirm for me what I need to know.
Amen.
God already confirms me what I need to know. After He's told me, then people can go ahead and confirm it. But my confirmation and my validation don't come from 10 people telling me that I'm going to be a preacher.
Sure don't. Amen.
Boy, you look just like a preacher. And 30 people in the church tell you that the next week the dude up preaching. And he ain't heard nothing from God.
Nothing from God.
Nothing. We have to be careful. He went and wasn't sent.
Yep.
We have to be careful that whatever we do in God's house is God-led. Watch this. Things done God's way will always get you God's supply.
Sure will. It will.
Things done God's way will always get you God's supply. You don't have to struggle. Right now, I was talking in the office a minute ago. As a church starting off, you would be amazed if it was your business. For those of you who are listening, you would be amazed at where we are financially and what we have been able to do financially. But it's all because me and Rodney were just saying, when you're handling God's business God's way, you will always maintain God's supply.
That's it.
There was a woman in the Bible who was a widow woman, and even her son was at the point of death. And the prophet Elijah came to her from his journey. He stopped by and he said, look, hey, why don't you make me a little old cake? And she was like, man, hey, I ain't got that much, a little oil, what I'm saying? Got a little meal in the barrel, and I'm going to take that and make a cake so my son, we can eat it and, die. He said, hey, the Lord told me to tell you, I heard what you're saying. I see your problem, see your situation.
Yeah.
Make me a cake.
Yeah.
Well, she obeyed. She obeyed the prophet Elijah, and she took the last that she had. She didn't have much meal, and she made him a cake. Story says that when she reached in to get the meal and was making the cake, she kept reaching. God kept on filling the meal. Kept on, I don't know where it's coming from, and it's still in there. It's still in there. The more you give, the more He gives unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give unto you.
Yes.
So in other words, God will always meet your supply when you do things in God's way. I tell people all the time, I haven't worked since February, but the reason that I have everything that I need is because I'm handling God's business. And if I handle God's business, guess what? He'll handle my business. He'll handle my business. Preach a sermon from that called, What Do You Do When You Reach the Bottom of the Barrel? What do you do when you reach when there ain't no more meal in the barrel? What do you do? If the Lord tells you to keep reaching, keep reaching.
Yeah.
Tells you to keep giving. Tithing is important even when you think you don't have it. Even when you think you don't have it. Give it anyway because that's what God requires. I have seen a woman, I've told you the story, I believe. I've seen a woman get her check, put her tithe on the dresser, waiting for Sunday to come. I saw the man, I ain't see him, I'm sitting in the house. The man comes, snatches the meat off the house. While we sitting there, dark, in the house. It's in the daytime. When I tell you who it is, you don't know. I'm not going to say it out loud. But anyway, so she gets up when she hear the dude close the door on the truck. And she was like, man, I'm going to pay, you know what I'm saying, this when I get paid, but I got my tithe money. He said, man, hey, they told me to come take the meter. I got to take the meter. Right. And she goes, this is my tithe money. I got the money, but I can't. The man drove off, Camp Robinson, drove off, got halfway down. We sitting in there, sitting in the den, and the lights popped back on. She gets up, and the man out there, he shook his head. He said, ma'am, I don't know who you know. I ain't seen you. I came back here, y'all wasn't at home. Y'all got a dog in the background. Walked off. He lied, but I mean, you know. Listen.
God will make
and guess what happened?
He'll make provision.
She didn't even have to pay them for like another 2-3 weeks. They didn't even bother her or anything. She paid her tithes. I've seen it. I've experienced it. Even here, individuals who have given their last just because I'm a tither. They obey the tithe. Obey the tithe. That is the quality of a leader. In other words, I'm taking everything of myself, like I said the other week, to better somebody else or to better my church. Because if I better my church, then guess what? See, you can invest in your church when you know the ministry of your church.
Amen.
When you know it's kingdom business. See, I don't understand how churches have everything going on but won't tell none of the members anything. So you want me to invest into this ministry and I don't see any fruits of the labor.
Yeah.
I don't see, you say that we go into the prison, but y'all ain't never been. But we've been putting money in the prison fund. Y'all say y'all visiting the sick, but my grandmother been in the nursing home for 3 years and y'all ain't been. So I'm paying my tithes into a place that I don't see any return from. So that is a shadow on the leaders.
Amen.
Because you have to teach not people to tithe. You have to teach people how to lead. Teach people how to lead. We can teach tithing because we want money. No, not here. I want to teach leadership because we need leaders. Yes, and then once you understand that you are a leader, nobody got to ask you to tithe. You know that's what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do. So, in any form of leadership, listen, whether it be preaching, pastoring, teaching a class, directing a choir, handling finances, the boulevard to becoming better comes at the upfront cost of trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error.
Trial and error. You can't be afraid of messing up.
Amen.
Can't be afraid of messing up. Trial, Rodney, and error. The reason that people practice is because there's a possibility that they may mess up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep practicing so I can get better at my craft. Get better at my craft. So if I want to be a better singer, guess what I got to do? I got to start showing up at rehearsal. Ouch. I'm sorry. Listen, I was on something else. Listen, if I want to be a better singer, I got to start applying myself to what I'm called to do. If I want to be a better preacher, I've got to start studying.
Got to. Must.
Got to start studying. I got it now. I mean, I'm good. I mean, you can almost ask me anything and I can go off. But I'm not comfortable with that. I want to be a better me tomorrow than I am today.
Yeah.
So guess what? I've got to study. Which signifies that even as a leader, I've still got to know I don't know it all.
Amen.
It's still more for me to learn, still more for me to study, still more for me to know. But I'll never know it if I don't study.
Gotta study.
Don't study.
Teach.
Don't study. So, watch this. No pastor, no person, no leader has ever arrived to the level of effective leadership without first having a viewpoint or blueprint or of the leader they choose to be.
Amen.
I remember growing up in elementary school, the first grade, I had a first grade teacher named Miss Pettit. And I dressed like this, like I dress now. I dressed like this, like all the time. You know, when I was growing up, I was clean. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but she would always ask me, she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's what she always asked me. What do you want to be when you grow up? And the first thing that I said was, hey, I want to be a preacher. You know what I'm saying? I dress like one. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only kid,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, in suits in elementary school, junior high school. And, but I saw it. I had a viewpoint of what I want to be. Other kids said, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a policeman. In other words, they had a view of what they wanted to be. Now, when you have a viewpoint or a blueprint of what you want to be, now you know how to start working towards it.
Yeah.
Towards it. My wife right now is a nurse. She didn't just wake up this morning and say, you know what, I'm going to be a nurse today. I'm going to go ahead and go over here, you know what I'm saying, and put this business down, so stick these needles in these folks over here, start cutting on some folks. No, it didn't happen like that. She had a viewpoint, blueprint, and vision of what she wanted to be, and she started working towards it.
Yes.
Start working towards it. So, when you know what you desire to be,
Yes.
and your desire is parallel to God's desire for you, start working towards it.
That's it. That's it.
And the blueprint is in the Bible. See, you got to compare yourself as a preacher, not by other preachers.
No, better not.
I don't compare myself by T.D. Jakes. I compare myself by what the Word of God says.
Right.
So, I would hate for you to be a doctor and compare yourself to the people on Scrubs or the people on Doogie Howser. Don't do that. You know, they in Hollywood. Don't do that. You know, you putting fake needles in real people. You know, don't do that. You know, but when you have a blueprint of what you want to become, you've got to work hard at it. This didn't come easy.
Yeah.
It came hard.
Yes, it did.
That was a cost that Reverend Eric Crowder Jones paid to be standing here.
Oh, will.
That was a sacrifice that was made for me to be standing here. The wisdom and the knowledge and the anointing didn't come from seminary. It came from struggle.
Yes, it did. Come on now.
Didn't come from studying the Bible. It came from experience. And when you have had an encounter with God and an experience with God, you can't be nothing but good.
That's it. That's it.
So no, I'm not conceited. I'm confident.
That's it.
So
Help us, Lord.
you have to have a blueprint. Who you choose to be. Who you choose to be. There is an idol that so many young people have. I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I want to be. But guess what? Be your own brand.
Show better.
Be your own brand. In other words, you make people want to be like you because you look so much like him.
Yes, I do.
So much like him. That's the important thing. Can the people in the church, can the people on your job literally go home? Can they literally sit by you and say, man, I admire her. Wow, the way she carries herself. So, again, the viewpoint of who you want to be could have simply been by watching, could have possibly been harsh lessons learned from living a hard knock life. Or the blueprint could have simply been watching the ups and downs of a person highly admired and respected. But ultimately, watch this, the landing pad of effective leadership came through experience.
Yeah.
Came through experience. I don't care how many books you've read about what you want to be and what you're doing. You really learned it by experience.
That's it.
You really learned it by experience. I've been preaching for 26 years, and I was told a lot by preaching, and then I knew how to preach. But experience, not school, not other preachers, experience taught me what preaching is all about.
That's it.
Preaching is all about. My wife was telling a story this morning, and I think it was this morning because I was asleep yesterday. It was this morning. She was telling about somebody she worked with in same field, but this other individual did not take the same passion into the same job the way that my wife did. Watch this. She knew what to do because that's what the book told her to do. But she didn't have a passion for it, so she done it differently. In other words, You can read a book, but experience is your best teacher. And if you ain't never experienced nothing, then when you talking to people about it, then they can't identify with you because there's no passion. It comes from a different place. It comes when a person sings a song. I can tell if you sing it because you got a good gift, or I can tell if you really been through the storm and rain. If you talking about he's sweet, I know. I can tell if you just singing, or I can tell if you've experienced his sweetness. When you singing, I've been through the storm and rain, but I made it. I can tell if you really been through the storm and rain and really made it. You want to stand up and sing on the praise team. Oh, you are my strength. You are my strength. But you're looking so weak.
Come on now. That's true.
Open the floodgates of heaven, but you won't lift your hand. You ain't trying to receive what he pouring out of heaven.
You didn't drown. Come on now.
Standing on the promises of God, but you steady sitting on the promises of God. I don't understand it. You have to learn to experience and encounter God in everything you do. If you're a doctor, he got to be in there. If you're a lawyer, he got to be in there. If you're a singer, he got to be in there. You have to engage, include, and incorporate God in everything that you do.
You do. You do.
Colette, if you're a dental assistant, you better have God in your hands. I tell you, oh my goodness, you'll do something to your patients when you go in there with God.
You will. You will. Amen. Amen.
Say amen.
Amen.
You think handing out a toothbrush is something simple? Hand a toothbrush out with God on your mind. My goodness, they'll be coming. Can I get a toothbrush? I just gave you. I want another one. You got anointing in that toothbrush. I want another one.
Hallelujah.
That don't just remove plaque, it removes sin. I need one of them. When you engage Jesus. When you engage Jesus. Listen.
Everyday life.
I've written this outline as a tool, watch this, to encourage and guide those that may be on the banks of leadership or those who may be entangled in leadership at this present moment. Listen to the members of our church, to those who may be entangled in leadership, involved in leadership now, or have a desire to be more effective. If you are a leader and you don't have a desire to be more effective, then you need to resign. Right now, I'm a leader, and I have to say, the proof is in the pudding. You can't argue with success. I'm very effective, but that means nothing to me. I want to be more effective. If God is using me, listen, I'm not touching nobody. If God is using me to touch people, I want to touch double that tomorrow. I want to double that next week. If God is using me. But God will not use you until you offer yourself to be used. Okay? So, moreover, I've tagged the position of leader at the end of this title to illustrate the proof that to become a perfect leader, you must first engage in the pursuit of it, endure the perils of it, and enjoy the perks of it. The leader does not become perfect without the pursuit, perils, and perks.
Amen.
The term leader simply means to lead with a charge. Watch this. To lead
with the charge.
With a charge. In other words, you have a command.
Yeah.
You've been given a responsibility. I charge you, Brian, to do this. I charge you, Shannon, to do this. Charge also can be taken as a challenge.
Yes, it can. Amen.
Because anything that you are asked, called, or told to do is a challenge, because you have to make up your mind that I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So not only do I charge you, I challenge you to lead. I challenge you to wake up every morning and go to your job. I challenge you. Now, many of you going to wake up and go to your job because you already know, guess what? The perks of it.
Yes.
I know that on Thursday night at 12 o'clock, ooh, boy, that bank account finna get swollen. It's kicking in. Hey, I'm lifting for you. Amen. 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 For those of y'all on the camera didn't see that, my wife waved both her hands. Amen. Those are the perks of accepting the charge and accepting the challenge. It's costing you. It's costing you. It's costing you sleep. It's costing you time away from your family. But when that paycheck comes, you forgot about all them times you missed. You forgot about all the sleep you missed. When you pay that light bill, man, you forgot about, man, I was tired to go to work last Monday. No, you forgot all about that. Why? Because of the perks of accepting the challenge. The same principle applies in the church. Same principle applies in the church. When you accept the challenge and you accept the charge,
yeah.
If you have ever done it in church and have experienced the residual, the perks from it, let me say this. I accepted the challenge, watch this, to not only preach, but to become pastor. Watch this. Now, I was on the go when I got home. Many of y'all know that. But man, this here, I love it.
Walt Disney.
But this here is full-time business. This is full business. So, I had a charge. Pastor, I had a challenge. Having to fit the schedule, my wife's schedule, my daughter's schedule, and run and take care of my uncle and do it. It was a challenge. But man, look at the perks. I wouldn't trade anything for this anointing. I wouldn't trade anything for my character. I'm not concerned about reputation. Because we are so effective, I got a bad reputation. Because we're not doing church as usual. We're not doing church as usual. I can't believe you got a woman over there with you. Watch this here. You probably need to get one over there with you. And that way your church won't be like it's been for the past 18 years.
Yeah, come on now.
I'm sorry. Let me, because I'm finna lose some more friends. Yeah. I'm lose some more. They wasn't what? I like that. Because ministry, to me, is more serious than friendship. Because we have to understand that when God calls you, you have to be sanctified. So when God calls you, He sets you apart from family. He sets you apart from friends. He sets you apart from what's popular so that you can become effective for the kingdom. The life you live has nothing to do with you. It should be all about Him. And so every day when I conclude my day, I want to make sure that I've done everything to please Him. I was talking to my uncle today, and his wife was sitting there, and she was saying, well, you need to do this here, and you should have done this here, and you yada, 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 yada. And I said, look, as long as I'm pleasing God, it may not be your way, may not be what you would have done. That's why God didn't call you. He called me. So I'm going to do it God's way. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to call me. Don't text me. You ain't got to ask me to come to your house. Because as for me in 5417 P&O, we're going to serve the Lord. Me and my house. We're going to serve the Lord. Sometimes serving the Lord will not be popular even by your own family. By your own family. I never say anything that I say now to belittle anybody. I'll say it to better somebody. So if there are any preachers that are listening who will feel offended, you're in the right place. Because if the word of God does not offend and or convict you, you might need to check your spirit. Anytime the word of God goes forth, it ought to cut you, and because there's some things on you that don't need to be there. It ought to expose you to yourself. When I read the Word of God, when I study the Word of God, I'm never smiling. I'm always frowning because I have just been affected because it exposed me to myself. So I can't preach to you on Sundays, teach to you on Tuesday until I first of all receive conviction from myself. So there are so many people who think that just because they pastor is dressed up in a suit, he pastors a nice church, that he got it together. I'm sorry you feel that way, but if you was inside his house and walls could talk, if car seats could talk, if hotel rooms could talk, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Understand that we are all flawed, but God is concerned about our faith. And your faith ought to cause you to be a more effective leader. Irregardless to what anybody got to say. So, let me So I endeavor, well, let me say this. In other words, as any type of leader, in our respective positions, whatever you are, doctor, nurse, McDonald's, we must understand that we must take responsibility for the people and elements that are connected to our call. Listen, today I went to the dollar store. And when I was on my way here. And man, listen. I tell you, I went there to get some copying paper. Some copying paper at the dollar store.
Talk now.
I know it's simple, it's just paper. And the line was so long. And you had these two women there. These two girls there. Ladies, women, females there. And they were kicking it. The line is long, and they kicking it. They cashier. It's two of them standing side by side. It's like 10 people in line. An old woman with a loaf of bread. I mean, folks up there like this here. And they're like, all right, I'm hot. I'm really hot now. Because they didn't take responsibility of their position. What's simple to you can be detrimental to somebody else. Second thing, yesterday I went to the hospital with Brandy, and we was in the triage room, and it was a nurse there, and then there was another lady, nurse practitioner there. Well, she had a bad attitude. I'm talking about, man, if I wasn't preaching, man, hey, I'm just gonna be honest with you, she would have got it. I'm tell you why. Because you never know what somebody else is dealing with. And when God has placed you in a position, sometimes because of what they're dealing with, he has allowed them to cross your path so you can usher them out of it. So I'm sitting here, and Brandy, she out of it. She, incoherent. But you like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's how serious ministry is to me. Because anytime we get up to sing a song praise team, anytime we guide people to their seat ushers, anytime we stand behind this pulpit to do anything, people's lives are in our hands.
It is. So true. So true.
It ain't simple. It's not simple. So I get real direct. I get real sharp, when it comes to ministry, because I'm so serious about it. Why? Because of the charge that's been given to me. Can't speak for you, but the charge that has been given to me.
Amen.
My wife, first of all, the way I was raised, Colette know better than anybody. Man, hey, I was a neat freak. Hey, man, you sit on the couch, soon as you leave out the room, you ain't got to leave the house, leave the room, I'm back fluffing, I don't play. From a kid up.
Help us, Lord.
I'm so picky about things like that because I like things to be in order.
Pray for you, man.
So, sometimes, look, when things in my house is out of order, man, I go off. It can be something simple. Breadcrumbs on the bottom. Man, I'm a whole different person. My wife got this bad. I'm going somewhere with this. We got to cover. Got a door on it. You open, get what you going out, you close it, you through. You know what I'm saying? We've been at this house since July. I can tell if anything in the house is wrong, I can kind of say Jordan did it, Christina did it. If that door's cracked, I don't have to say nothing to them. I already know she gonna do it. We sitting here this morning, and she goes in that cupboard, and she was like, and I just stood there. And she turned, what? I said, man, the door? Oh, okay. And just closed the door. Man, I be ready to go off. It's something simple, but bad. I got it bad. It's something simple, but it means a lot. Let me tell you why. Because that's my experience. That's the way I was raised. I said it in the sermon I preached last Sunday. When you have had an experience, keep the receipt. When you have had an experience, keep the receipt, because it's too expensive to pay for it twice. If my great-grandparents raised me right, then I dare not grow up and be the head of a house and not allow those up under me to do the exact same thing that I was taught to do. That's being a leader. And she told me the other day, I went off about something. Every day in my house, man, I'm going off about something. I'm going to find something. And she said, but baby, this is the first time she ever got mad at me. Like, when came back at me like that. But baby, I wasn't raised like that. That's the way you were raised. But as the head of the house, this is the way you finna be raised.
Oh, Jesus.
That's Bible. That's Bible. How can, let me take you to 1 Timothy chapter 3, 2 Timothy chapter 3. How can I run the house of God if I can't run my own home? Because it starts at home. So if I want Rodney as a deacon to lock these doors when we leave at night, my wife needs to at least be closing the cabinets at home. If I can't get her to close a cabinet, I know I can't get him to lock the door at the church. Yeah.
I'm praying for you, man.
Don't you know that if you leave a cabinet open, you can go to hell? No. I'm just but we. She said it was open because it had so much Jesus in it. But I said that because if I'm a leader at home, if I'm a leader at church, I got to be a leader at home. Even over the simple things. A cabinet, it's not the cabinet, it was the way I was raised. You can't let go of those principles. Many people do the same thing in church. As children in Sunday school, you learned the principles, but when you got older, you abandoned them. So now you're not able to teach your children the principles because you left them.
You better say that.
You left them. So don't expect your children to grow up coming to church, coming to Bible study. Because guess what? You ain't doing. They're watching you. So as I endeavor to guide you through the few points that I believe will mature God's ministry through your individual role as a leader. Now I'm going to the last page to conclude this study. And I say this, let me say this, because I'm always wise in service if you pay attention. And I've talked to several of you. Me and Rodney talk a lot. And Happy Feet, of course, my armor bearer, so he around me all the time, so he hear everything. I mean, when I unload, he getting it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I say this because as a leader, let me rephrase that. As a pastor, you never want to rule with an iron fist.
No, you don't.
And you never want to have to micromanage everything.
No, you don't. It turns you out.
So you want to put people in position.
That you can trust.
And psychologically, it's called delegated authority. Putting people in trusted position who you can delegate the authority to. In other words, Paul was an ambassador. In other words, he had delegated authority from God when he went on his missionary journey. So Paul was in position. So Paul put other people in position to get God's house in order. 1 Corinthians. Well, when they wouldn't put God's house in order, he came back in 2 Corinthians and ruled with an iron fist. Because he had to. He had to. And so, even now in our church, as we were talking, that's where we are now. Because you give individuals an opportunity to minister. But then, as the pastor, you are the keeper and overseer of God's house. So, I can't say that. That's what the old folks used to say. That's not appropriate for church. But when stuff hits the fan, it don't go to the leaders in church. It's a reflection on the pastor. The good thing about this church, you can't vote me out. But the majority of the churches,
we don't like them. Send them away.
the majority of the churches, the pastor got to take the heat. And then when he takes the heat, he loses his job.
Oh, no.
So, since you can't fire me, and this is my job, and I don't get paid, I'm going to make sure that I keep house. That's my responsibility. That's my responsibility. And so, you can't be passive as a leader. Go with the wind. The wind blow. You know, you make this decision. The wind blow this way, you make this decision. You got to be firm, fair, and consistent. And like Jesus, guess what, Rodney? You can't have a respected person.
Right. Not at all.
So here, as a pastor, I don't consider myself the boss. As I said last week in our meeting with a financial individual, I don't want nothing to do with that unless I have to. You need to have people over me to watch me, to make sure I'm doing what's right. Because right now, some churches that people start, pastor the top man. He got his hands in everything. You can't tell him nothing. Well, that's kind of wrong. You can't tell the pastor nothing. Something wrong with that. You know, because in order to be an effective leader, you also got to be able to follow. To be able to follow. Because, go back to what we said the past 2 weeks, man, you don't know everything. Now, when it comes to the Bible, man, I know a lot. I know a lot. But when it comes to, a contusion on the brain and an aortic, whatever, I don't know nothing about that stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane. When it comes to pulling teeth and passing the, you know what I'm saying? That's collect lane. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But what I'm called to, I know everything about because I apply myself. If you're going to be a truck driver, you need to start learning everything you need to know about being a truck driver. It's a shame when people who not called to what you say you called to know more about what you got to do than you do.
That's a shame.
Okay, let me go to the last point, the perks. This is the lesson, the perks, last page. Perks, a privilege, happy feet, or benefit to which a person is entitled by virtue of their status and position. When you obey God,
that's it.
Goodness and mercy shall follow you. That's it. I don't stress. I don't worry. Certain people close to me know, man, the enemy attacking me right now. Man, I'm handling God's business. Man, I'm going to let the enemy worry about his problems.
Amen.
I'm going to focus on God's problems. Let the chips fall where they may. Now, man, that got you. Man, you got to take some faith for that. Well, how can I get up on Sunday morning and preach about faith if I don't live by faith? That's right. I can tell you about it. Well, right now, you come to me, man, I'm about to lose my car. I lose my house. And let me tell you, man, just trust God, brother. Just trust Him. And then as soon as it's my turn, I come to the church, hey, man, I need about $10,000. Man, they about to, no, that ain't faith. That's fear. Because the same thing that I said God would do for you,
He gonna do for me.
He can do the same thing for me too. That old song we sang when we was growing up, I believe it today. He is a lawyer in the courtroom.
Yes, He is.
He is a doctor in a sick room.
Yes, He is.
Ask me how I know. Because I tried it.
Right.
I tried it. So, the perks that come with following God. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 19. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 19. God says, behold, I've set before you blessings and curses, life and death. I would that you therefore choose life so that you and your seed both may live. Can somebody check that? Deuteronomy 30 and 19. So you and your seed can live. I want to make sure that's right. Make sure that's right.
I call heaven and earth to report this day against you.
That's right.
That I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Therefore choose life, that both thou and they, thy seed, may live.
So he said, look, I've placed blessings in front of you, Shannon, if you want them. And I place curses.
All your choice.
If you choose it. That's it. Life, if you want it.
There we go.
Death, if you choose it.
Yeah.
If you choose. That's what I place in front of you. If you obey me, there are rewards.
Yeah.
If you disobey me, there are consequences.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Then if you go back, I believe two more chapters, Deuteronomy 28, it talks about the blessings of obedience and the curses of disobedience. That's the difference between blessings and curses. Blessings are because of obedience, curses are because of disobedience. So the benefit of being a perfect leader is the blessings that God gives to you. As a leader, it's imperative to understand that there will be rewards to your labor. I know that. Always remember the childhood examples that many have experienced as pertaining to the privileges we receive by being obedient children. Watch this. Watch this. Now I got to go back home. I use so many examples with my household and with my children because you get God all the time. You know, you can always talk about somebody else, but you can't experience yourself. So anyway,
What you say?
growing up, when we made good grades, we often would receive money for every A. I remember that growing up.
Wish I was still a kid.
And my oldest daughter, Christina, when she got her first report, she was off the chart. She was off the chart. She was on fleek. Well, we left the school. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I want this game or something. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you can get whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? For real. And so then her mom said the same thing. She texted me, hey, yeah, get it for her, yada, yada, yada. So we went, you know what I'm saying? And, they had to unlock the gate and got what she wanted because why?
She worked for
She
it.
obeyed and she worked hard for us, so she was able to get whatever she wanted. Now,
Reaping the benefits.
same day, little old Joy, she didn't do so good. So watch this. I think I told y'all that before. She had a bed, a dresser, nightstand, TV, movies. That day, all she had was a bed and a dresser in her room because she was disobedient. So there were no rewards for it. Christina going there, she cheesy, we went to Walmart, we got the game, went over here and got this here, and Jordan like, she ain't so happy. You ain't supposed to be happy. You just don't disobey. So, the same principle of God does not reward bad behavior. So now, the reason you ain't been, I know you coming to church, you paying tithes, you been clapping your hands, singing your song, doing your dance. Now, examine yourself. The reason why you are not being blessed, check your life. Check your life. Because we already know by experience and by the Bible that God's going to reward you if you obey Him. So if there are things that you've been asking God for, things you've been needing and seeking God for, they have not come to you yet, you might want to check your life and to see what part, what area, what crack, what crevice that you are disobeying God.
That's it. Exactly.
Even the littlest bit of disobedience will cost you everything.
It will.
When we completed our chores, we were extended recreational opportunities. Uh-oh. God dog it, Christina, I got to get you. Christina got a phone. She on that phone 24/7. About 3 weeks ago, she started slipping on her chores. When Christina come home, Christina don't have a phone. She get that phone when she walking out the door to go to school. Why? There's no recreation for her. Why? Because she didn't do her chores. Same thing in the house of God. Rodney, there are certain chores that as a deacon you've got to do. Responsibilities. Praise team, ushers, outreach, finance. There are certain things that you are required to do in the house of God. So anytime the pastor got to keep talking to you about what you know you're supposed to be doing, well, you don't get no recreational activities. Something get taken away from you. Okay? When we won certain competitions in sports, we obtained great accolades. Watch this. Always be mindful not to lose sight of who you are just because of the perks and privileges that accompany your position. Don't lose sight of that. Some people get so caught up in all of the blessings that they forget about the blessor.
That's it.
Man, this is pretty deep. God has blessed a few people that I know financially. And they was all God. Every day. God this. God that. But now, I'm not hearing nothing about God.
And forgot about the blesser.
Nothing. I never want to get so big that I forgot when I was so little. God, I was so little.
Oh, it's easy to do.
A preacher friend of mine, and because I got a lot of respect for him, and I know his character, he said something to me about 3 weeks ago. He said, man, I'm too big to be too small. And he was talking about other preachers and comparing himself. So when he said it, I've been still thinking about that to this day, trying to figure out, I'm trying to say, did he mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because of who he is, and I know it's, I'm naming you too big to be too small. Did I take that some type of way? Because what you just said, this is a dude who is not like that. He's not prideful, not arrogant, and by position, he could be. I'm just be honest with you. I mean, he's the dude. And I'm not talking about just pastor-wise, that political-wise, just I'm talking about. So when he said that, I was like, I'm too big to be too small. Wow. Listen, I'm never too big because I never forget where I come from. The Bible, if you want to be a leader, you got to first of all be a servant. Jesus never got too big himself, and he was the Savior of the world. To the point that he got down and washed the disciples' feet. Yeah. I don't understand that. I don't understand. I guess I got to just take it for what it is. He meant what he said. I got to take that. But you can't forget where you come from. I don't care if this church is packed out every Sunday. I don't care if we have one of the biggest churches in Arkansas.
You gotta be humble.
I'm still going to be the same person I am today. Amen. Same person I am today. You cannot change. God promotes you because of how you are and where you are. Some people on their job. Amanda, good nurse, do everything you ask to do, fill out all your paperwork right. Your supervisor sees you. She checking you out. Because you at the top of the chain, you the best worker. You get a promotion. I think you deserve to be up here. Then when you get up there, you start changing. You ain't keeping up with your paperwork now. Don't expect to stay up there.
Yeah.
Don't expect to stay up there. So if God promotes you and elevates you, keep on keeping on. Don't change.
Amen.
Always remember that you have what you have because of God. That's me. That's my testimony. We in this building not because we had any money, not because we paid a dime, not because we done anything except obey God.
That's it.
Period. Always remember to remain humble and knowing that you are who you are due to the humility you went through. I said that earlier. I am who I am because of what I went through. Don't ever forget, Rodney. Don't ever forget the hell you went through to get to where you are right now. The Rodney you are right now. You ain't who you are because of all your good. You are who you are because of your good and your bad. Don't forget what you've been through. Always be willing to encourage those you are leading that they too, Shannon, can arrive at the same level of your achievement if they apply the principles that have been proven by the illustration of your success. Listen, I don't like Donald Trump. You ain't got to like Donald Trump, but you can't argue with the fact that he is a millionaire. A billionaire. Can't argue with his success. Man, he ain't got no money. Say he ain't got none. I seen it. You can't argue with success. Bill Clinton, not Bill Clinton, what's the guy named? Bill Cosby said it better. The proof is in the pudding. So when I see Shannon, and I admire Shannon, I want, she I'm not finna dislike her.
Cause she's.
I'm finna get like her.
Yeah.
So, listen. You ain't gotta hate on somebody because they living better than you. They driving better than you. Get like them. Link up with them, maybe. Man, how are you doing what you doing? How'd you
get a blueprint? Come on.
Man, are you going through all of this? And you still shouting, you still praising God, you still smiling?
Right.
Yeah, I am. Man, you crazy. No, I ain't crazy. I just know God. I just know God. That's all it is. I just know God. And guess what? I invite you to get to know Him too. That's all you do. Get to know Him too. That's it. Listen. Now, the conclusion, strength comes by way of struggle. This outline is not the answer. Listen, this is my disclaimer. It's my disclaimer.
Save yourself, amen.
This outline is not the answer to every person's pursuit of productive leadership.
Amen.
This outline is simply an encouragement, an example, and story of personal experiences and applications that have aided me in effective leadership. And it has proven to be beneficial through the results of the fruits of my labor. That's it. I said at the funeral the other day, when you die, what can people say about you?
Amen.
And I know what people will say about me when I die because I'm living a life that's making them say it while I'm alive.
Amen.
Jesus lived his life in a way that it caused people who were fishermen to drop their nets. He lived his life, Rodney, in such a way that it caused people who were married to lead their families and follow him.
Yeah.
You ought to live your life in such a way, Shannon, and be such an effective leader in that you cause people to change their lives.
That's it. So true.
That's important. So this series, The Cost of Effective Leadership, is online. Every Tuesday we've done it online. And I'm going to compile it and put it all together.
Amen.
So that you can have, you got the outline, the printout. I went by the outline that I wrote. So you'll have the outline, then you'll be able to have the DVD to go with this lesson study. You can share this with whomever. Share it with yourself. Maybe on your job and even in your churches, even here. I dare not, after I have asked all our people to be here, I dare not have a class set aside for our people to watch it. But you can, watch it, and hopefully it'll help you. Because I believe that God gives us grace, Amanda. He gives us grace, Shannon. He gives us grace. But it's going to come a point to where that time is going to be up and the grace period is over with. He already told you the bridegroom coming, Happy Feet. Bridegroom coming. So the songwriter and the Bible, Matthew 25, say do what? Keep your lamps trimmed and what? Burning, full of oil. So that when he comes, you ain't going to get oil, you're going to miss him.
And have extra. Don't play with me.
So I got a feeling that there's some people in our church that's missing their oil. And they going to get it. They miss Bible study. They miss outreach. They've been going to get their oil. And guess what? We done moved on. The bridegroom that came and closed the door, and now y'all knocking trying to get in. I ain't got the key no more. Grace done ran out. We've been here 5 weeks. This will make the 6th week. If you have not applied yourself in any way, then as pastor, then, I believe that we've been fair to you. I believe. And so executively, that decision has to be made. Because you have been placed in a position that people are depending on you. And the problem with churches is that God gives individual keys to the kingdom. And people can't get in because the key keeper keeps staying at home.
Yeah, I got to get in.
Prime example, this morning, came here, run these cameras. Came here to do a whole lot of stuff today. Me and Brian pulled up to the door. Got all the bad stuff out the car, get to the door. Didn't have a key.
Go ahead, doorkeeper.
Didn't have a key. Watch this. Watch this. What if Comcast was here? What if the cameraman was here with us? They would have had to wait on us. It would have cost them and ultimately cost us. All because the key keeper was irresponsible with the keys. Now watch this. I had given the key to my wife. Now, watch this. It doesn't matter who I gave the key to. I was responsible for the key. You can't blame nobody else. Renetta, Shannon, you can't blame nobody else.
But yourself.
Why you wasn't here to open the kingdom to somebody else. You can't explain that. You can't explain that. God ain't hearing it. He ain't hearing it. He ain't just telling me nothing. He ain't here telling me nothing. Let's stand. Hold up. Any questions? Any questions about the lesson study? Any comments? Anything that anybody want to say pertaining to this particular lesson?
Well, I enjoyed the whole lesson. I thank God for the pursuit. I mean, in order for you to chase something, you got to know what you're chasing. And listening to the whole message, when we're chasing after God and we're in pursuit of Him, He's going to place your life where it needs to be.
Yes.
And so when you're talking about leadership, like you said, it ain't about ties or doing all this stuff, but when you start becoming in leadership, you start having more of a responsibility for God. Mm-hmm. You don't really look at people anymore. You start looking at what is it that I need to do that's going to please you. What is it that I need to do that I'm going to serve you, God? And so I'm responsible for what words I speak out of my mouth because it may affect somebody. I'm responsible how I'm living my life because my walk may cause you to fall. And so if I'm pursuing after God, then I'm on the right track. And so I just thank you for talking about the pursuit. The first night that you talked about that, it just opened up a lot of things. Like, man, if I give you my whole heart, God, if I, obey your every command. But when you talked about that, it just blew me away how much leadership in an individual. You can be a leader and still not be over a praise team. Mm-hmm. You can be a leader and still not have a position in a church. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Somebody, you can lead without even having a title on you. Mm-hmm. And when you are a true leader, you're not worried about the title. Right. Mm-hmm. You're not, it's like I'm in pursuit of God and what position He wants me to be in. And I think when people come into understanding, because I have patience with people a lot on purpose, because I don't know where they're at. But until they want it, until they willing, until they ready, and then it can work out. But they have to be willing first. Yes. Just like if I'm going to pursue anything, I have to be willing to pursue God. Yeah. He don't want us if we grudgy and, well, they got this church open, they want me to do that. No, I don't want you to do anything. I want you willing to do it because you do it unto God. So it's nothing in this. I love it because when you broke down pursuit, man, it's like I want to become a better me. So I thank God for the pursuit, the pearls. This is not easy. It's not easy coming into a church like we're new at this. We're learning personalities. We're learning each other. And so we're merging in a place of learning how to be humble with God so He can get the glory out of it. Right. Mm-hmm. So when I hear leadership, it teaches me, get out my way. Yes. Just get out my way. And so when you talked about that, it makes me have another eye view of, man, I don't want to do nothing to fail you, God.
Yes. When you say that, and I say this, and I'll be through. That TV show, what was it? A singing show, American Idol.
Okay.
That was a young lady who came on that show 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row.
Rejection.
And the first time she came, I think her mom, her dad, or somebody had died or whatever. So when she got up on the stage, she got real emotional, broke down, couldn't even get through the song. They didn't have no sympathy for her.
Right.
I mean, by right, you know what I'm saying? I understand you emotional, but I mean, hey, you can't get in front of billions of people if we push you through and break down because you're thinking about your mama.
Yeah.
So if you say you want to be a singer, when you get on the stage, you got to put your feelings aside because you got 1 billion fans out here. You see what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of times that a lot of individuals who are in leadership position, they get in those positions and they have everybody relying on them and they move by feelings and emotions and then they disappoint the people in whom they're leading.
Because they're not effective leaders.
Because they're not effective. They're not effective. And they're not, you know, I'm not saying they're not wholehearted in what they're doing, but a double-minded man, the Bible says in James chapter 1 and verse number 8, is unstable in all his ways. Unstable in all his ways. If I came here on Tuesdays and Sundays and y'all got what really going on in my mind, man, y'all will be all scattered and boy, y'all be messed up. But I don't operate in my feelings when I come here. You see what I'm saying? Brian was with me before I came this evening. I came back this evening. If I was still in my feelings like I was when I was on my way here, man, man, I wouldn't even be up here right now. Y'all can handle me right now. I'd be going off. Because I was still hot about, man.
All because of that paper.
Man, no, it wasn't even that. It was something even deeper than that. But I don't wear my feelings because I can't be an effective leader in my feelings.
Sure can.
Right.
My mother always tell me, don't never discipline somebody
when you mad.
When you mad. Because you would take out stuff on that person that really you've been balled up about something that happened in your job earlier today. Yeah. Let's stand. Let's be dismissed.
Keep Sean Austin in your prayers. Her mom is in hospice. So keep Sean in your prayers. Amen.
And Shirley, young lady who daughter we did the funeral for this weekend, she sends her hellos and her thanks you to this church and all that we did.
I'm gonna close it. You want me?
Okay, yeah, you can close it.
Okay.
And Brandy as well sends her thanks to the church. I don't care. We're a church. When you need us, we there, and that's what church is all about. That is just, I'm just amazed. I'm grateful to our church to be able to do that. I was sharing with my wife last night what it simply means to tithe. Bring all your tithe and offering in the storehouse so there may be meat in my house. In other words, so there may be where I'm able to meet that need. And we've been able to do that. And God has blessed us with everything that we need in this church to bless the other people.
Amen.
Every head bowed, every eye closed. God, thank you so much for fellowship. Thank you for friendship. Thank you for all that you have done for us.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you for this word. Thank you, God, just for keeping us, for shielding us, for shepherding us. Thank you, God, for placing us in our respective positions. And God, none other than that, we just prayed that, God, that you would lead us in our homes, lead us in our jobs. God, I pray that you would make us better. God, and I pray that you would just open up our heart and our mind to receive your direction. I pray that, God, that you would just touch us like only you can do. Give us the wisdom.
Yes, Lord.
Give us the knowledge on how to be who you want us to be, who you've called us to be. Give us compassion in our positions. God, no matter what it is, let us be, live in us, God, live through us, so that when people see us, they will be able to experience you.
Yes, Lord.
And it will bring them closer to you, a relationship with you. God, thank you. Thank you. Bless this house. Bless this church. Bless this ministry. Bless the homeless. God, I pray that you would continue to pour resources into this ministry. And then, God, allow us to be responsible over everything that you place in our care.
Yes, God. Thank you.
That we may be using it for the upbuilding of your kingdom.
Yes, Lord.
And for your people.
Yes, God.
Not our members, but your people.
Yes, God.
No matter who they are and where they are. Give us wisdom on who to help and how to help. In
Yes,
Jesus'
God.
name,
Jesus' name.
amen.
Amen.